then sometimes that makes him comfortable enough to go ahead and do it out. But if he's still scared, if it's become more of an emotional thing, then it's a matter of facing the fear and overcoming it and doing it in increments. You know, if I don't know where is he comfortable now getting back under 6, or is it like it's just totally weirded him out and he doesn't want to get under anything?
He's getting much better with it.
Okay, it might take a little time, but like what I would suggest is building back up to it, and then when he's close to it, when he's ready to it. And sometimes it's even better to go a little heavier. That 700 may be really stuck in his head. You know, 700, that number. Throw 715 on.
We started overloading him at like 790 and make him stand there for a minute.
Yeah, stuff like exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Make him get more weight on his back and realize, you know, hey, it's just a number. The other thing is taking places where there's guys handling more weight than that all the time. Let them see it's not a big deal. Take them to some meets where guys are squatting 1,000 and be like, look, you're human, they're human. They've just been doing it a little bit longer, and there's no difference. So it's, and a lot, like I said, it's facing it, it's rationalizing it. There's a lot of different methods to do that. Like, I'm a firm believer in that you should fear nothing, and anything you do fear, face it. And that's some of the guys here will tell you. I'm not wired like a lot of people, a little bit different. But yeah, anything with fear, I believe in facing it. When I was a kid, I grew up out in the woods, out in the middle of no place. And anybody who's grown up in the woods or been out in the middle of nowhere, I mean like nowhere where there's nothing but miles and miles of woods, it can be a little freaky at nighttime. And when I was a kid, it used to kind of weird me out. You know, you walk through the woods at night, you step on the leaves and branches. As you go past them, behind them, you'll hear them like kind of like uncompressing or decompressing, and they make a little noise, so it sounds like somebody's walking behind you. You know, there's a lot of animals running around out there, stuff that you know, makes noise and freaks you out a little bit. But anyway, so it scared me. I didn't like the fact that it scared me, so I would force myself to go outside in the middle of the night and stand in the woods until it didn't bother me anymore. And you know, stuff like that. So it was just a matter of facing what freaked me out, what I didn't like. Just face it until it becomes normal, until it doesn't bother you anymore. And basically a lot of, you know, that's how a lot of things are. You basically have to desensitize yourself to those fears. So it's, like I said, with something like that, you know, help them get back under the same weight or more weight. You know, and then just help talk them through the fact that, look, all the reasons why this doesn't make any difference. One dump doesn't mean anything. And if you're going to let one dump stop you, you're never going to get anywhere, because it's going to happen to you, you know, many, many times over the years if this is something you stick with. You know, just the same thing as an injury in any other sport. You know, it's part of the game. You can do everything. You see, people think with injuries and stuff, I mean, sometimes there are. Sometimes you can point to a technique or a flaw in training that led to the injury, but sometimes you can do everything right. But if you're at the highest levels and you're pushing your body to the limits, it's just going to happen. You know, your tendons are only so strong. You know, your muscles are only so strong, and you push your body to the edge. Sooner or later, I mean, there's very, very few people who make it to the highest level of the sport without suffering major injuries, or eventually don't down the road. And the majority of us have suffered numerous. You know, it's part of the game. It's the way it is. And if you're going to let it derail you, you're not going to have a long career. So, oh, another way too, like as far as speaking about fear, but fear more like an anxiety. A lot of people pre-meet jitters. You know, morning of the competition, you know, a lot of guys, especially early on in their careers, get really nervous, get really scared. You know, I know guys that basically talk themselves out of it. Great training cycles, hit awesome numbers, go into the meet, basically shit the bed. You know, for no other reason than psychologically they break down. And being able to handle that, I mean, some people have different psychological makeups, and just some people thrive on pressure, some people fold under it. But it is something you can train, it is something you can get better at. When I was younger, I folded under it terribly. My first wrestling match in junior high, I was so nervous that I almost physically passed out when the match started. Went out there and shook the kid's hand, was shaking terribly. As soon as they started the match, my knees buckled and I almost went out cold because I was so nervous and so scared. These days, I thrive on competition. The more competition there is, the harder it is, the more pressure there is, the better I perform. What I've learned to do is take that anxiety and channel it and turn it into something else. For me, lifting competition, I channel it and turn it into aggression. That's what works good for me. I can take that nervous energy and turn it into aggressive energy. And I've also learned how to turn it on and turn it off, how to calm myself when it's time to rest and relax, and how to turn it up quickly and then shut it back down when I need it. That was something that took a lot of years too. Anybody who ever seen me lift earlier in my career, I basically used to freak out throughout the entire meet. And by the time the deadlifts would roll around, I'd be almost exhausted because mentally I'd be so geeked up the whole time, all the way through the meet. Well then, I knew it was wearing me out, and I knew, you know, I couldn't continue to do that. I needed to come up with a better way, so I started learning how to relax myself between and basically, you know, bring that down and take my mind off what was going on. And it's basically using a bunch of calming and relaxing techniques. For me, basically, like a lot of people talk about deep breathing, slowing your breathing, relaxing, deep breaths, also focusing on things that you find calming. For me, that's water. So I would just, you know, picture being at the beach or near a lake or and hear the water, you know, feel the breeze, that kind of stuff, and that's what would calm me down. Bring my heart rate down, relax me, and then in between, I mean, now I don't even have to do that anymore. It's, if you're to see me at a meet or a competition or a show I'm doing now, I'll be joking around, laughing and screwing around 5-10 minutes before it's time for me to go. But when I reach that point, like at a meet, say about 15 minutes before I lift, that's when I switch gears, mentally go to a different place, and then I get myself ready, walk on the platform, give it 110%. 2 seconds after I step off, I shut it right back down. It's something that took a lot of years, a lot of practice, but it's something, it's an area that most people really lack in, especially at the earlier, lower levels. You'll see it any meet you go to, especially, you know, guys that are in big meets for the very first time. You'll see it in some guys' faces. I can a lot of times walk into a meet and tell who's going to bomb. I mean, just look in their face and you'll see guys just sweating bullets. They look scared. You can see the fear in it. And psychologically, they just haven't learned how to handle the pressure. And people don't realize that's something that can be trained and be focused on and be controlled. But like anything else, I mean, you don't go into a competition without training your muscles. Why don't you train your mind? I mean, that's the biggest area that people lack in and don't put effort into. Let's see. Visualization. Visualization is another area that goes along with all this stuff that is way undertrained. People don't take advantage of, and it can be hugely beneficial. And this is not only, you know, and almost all this stuff I'm talking about not only applies to, you know, powerlifting and athletics in general, but also to anything in life. I mean, you know, business aspirations, you know, all kinds of stuff like that, even relationships with other people. But visualization, basically, it's all about the more real you can make the visualization to whatever you're trying to visualize. The more real it is, the more effective it's going to be. So you want to make it first person. When you do visualization, you want to picture everything in your mind as you're looking through your own eyes. You don't want to do the third person thing like a lot of us dream, where you're outside your body watching yourself. I mean, any type of visualization is going to help, but the more real it is, the more effective it's going to be, because the more your mind is going to accept what you're telling it. You want to be able to recreate not only sights, but sounds, all your other senses. When you get good enough at it, actually, like if I go through my mind and I prepare myself before a lift, I feel the knurling of the bar in my hands. I smell the chalk. I see everything that's going on. I see the crowd. I see the bar. It's very, very similar to doing it, to actually going out and doing it. My heart rate will accelerate. Sometimes I'll even begin to perspire. But if you focus hard enough and get into it deep enough, it is really, really similar to going through the real thing. And where it's helped me the most is breaking through plateaus. If there's a number you're stuck at, something that, you know, or something that really frustrates you, an area that you're having trouble getting past, visualization works really, really well to get through that. Like, let's say, for example, 800-pound squat is something you haven't been able to break. If you, in training, every time before you squat, or anytime you're going to take heavy singles, you go through the entire setup from start to finish and completing the lift, and you do it in your mind over and over and over again. And you add every time. The other important thing is it always has to be successful. It's funny how, like, sometimes we'll try to sabotage ourselves. You try to do visualization, and you'll see yourself failing. Every time that happens, if you start to do it and you see yourself not making the lift or whatever it is you're trying to visualize, then you need to scrap it, start over from the beginning. I start from the chalk hole, going over the chalk hole, chalk in my hands, walking over, grabbing the bar, physically twisting my hands exactly how I do it every time, the exact same setup, just like I would do in a competition. And it's every sensation, it's every, like I said, sight, smell, sound, feeling the bar on my back, feeling the weight, feeling the load on my muscles. And it's just, the more real you can make it, the more effective it's going to be. And you can do this for anything in life. It doesn't have to be lifting. It can be any sport. It could be a job interview. If it's something you have a lot of anxiety with, you go through the whole thing. You see yourself calm. You see yourself relaxed. I mean, you can apply it to pretty much anything. And it's such an underutilized area that has so much potential that most people never tap into. So I mean, like I said, these are all things. As much training time as we put into our, our physical bodies, it's funny how little time people put into training their minds. Let's see. Oh, and there's actually, there are exercises you can do to help with visualization. Like if some people, and I hear people say sometimes, well, I just can't picture that. I don't see it. It's real vague. It's fuzzy. It's more like a dream. Can't get it real. You can practice by doing certain little exercises. One thing you can do is just close your eyes and try to blank everything out, make everything black, and then you picture a shape. And then let's say we picture a square. Then you make it three-dimensional. Then you give it a surface. Make it fuzzy, or make it rough, or make it spiny, but you're just changing different physical aspects to it. Then you rotate it in your mind, make it turn three-dimensionally. And then as you progress, you can change the colors to it. But basically, all you're doing is practicing how to visualize, how to control your mind, how to make it see what you want it to see. So it's simple like that. You start with a blank canvas, you add something simple like a shape, then you change the shape, then you add stuff to it, you rotate it, and you do this stuff over and over again, and then pretty soon, you can close your eyes and pretty much picture anything you want to picture in any way you want to picture it. And then it's all about making, what you want to see become your reality. And like I said, the key is with visualization is making it, the more real you can make it, the more effective it is. Pain tolerance, one of my favorite topics. This is something else that is totally psychological, can totally be controlled, and can totally be trained. How many of you guys have heard about the nail thing that I've done? Some of you guys familiar with it? All right. I was actually going to bring one and do it today, and then I kind of waffled on it. I didn't want anybody passing out or throwing up, so I decided to skip it. But basically, it's I know most people just think I'm flat out crazy, but which there may be some truth in. But basically, pain tolerance, like anything, can be